Okay, here we are in exercise 8-7, and our next assignment um, is to edit this profile, the the proposed profile, in a tabular form, in a very exact form. Right when I created this, remember that I just kind of hyperbolically put these points in, and uh, and in order to further refine it, I can go ahead and go into a table and refine that. But before I do that, let me try and do that same process with the existing profile. I'm going to go ahead and highlight that red one. I'm going to right click and I'm going to edit profile geometry. And notice that all these buttons are grayed out. Now, why would it be grayed out? Well, it's grayed out because the red line is sampling information off of the surface. And unless the surface changes, that profile will not change. Okay, you get it? It's sampled off of the existing surface. Whereas our blue line here, the proposed, is not sampled. It is actually something we are designing, okay? And it's constantly in a work in progress. So that's the one I want to change. So let me go ahead and highlight the blue line, right click, edit profile geometry, and I want to run over here to the this little box, the profile grid view, and I want to go ahead and open that. And what I see are elevation pairs with the grades in between, and I notice way over here on the back side I have the vertical curve length information. Okay, I went ahead and had already changed this one, but I'm going to go ahead and change it back to, I'm going to change it to something like 300. Now I want you to view this area where station 15 is, okay? I want to change it to 300. Notice how the vertical curve shrunk. Now I'm going to change it to 400, what it was initially when we first set it. Okay, zooms back out, and now I'm going to change it to 500. Okay, now it's expanded back out. Let's say I go to station 9, and I want to go ahead and change that to, say, 440. Not 400, 440. That's going to be way up there. Okay, notice how it jumped way up there? Let me control Z again. Let me do something a little, how about 350? That's better. Okay, notice how it jumped there again? Okay, so you can see I can precisely control the station elevation pairs just by entering numbers in this table. Let me go ahead and undo this. Undo that again. And it's still not undoing. There we go. All right. Let's move on to exercise. Let's see, it's 8-8 now. Okay, now what exercise 8-8 does is it goes through the process of deleting a piece of an entity off of the profile. And let's zoom in here to station 15, and let's take a look at our vertical curve right there. Okay, that's an entity on the existing profile. I'm sorry, that's an entity on the proposed profile itself. So let's say that the designer wants to eliminate that. So let's go ahead and highlight the blue line, right click, and I'm going to edit profile geometry, and I want to come over here to the, let's see, it's the 1, 2, 3, is that the one? Delete entity, that's the one I want. Now, as opposed to delete the PI, where that would delete this and create a straight line. But no, I want to delete the entity, which is the actual vertical curve. Okay, so now let me select the vertical curve carefully, and there it goes, it's gone. Okay, so you can see the child, the text that was along with that vertical curve disappeared as well. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to 8-9. Okay, here in 8-9, the author wants us to place in an asymmetrical vertical curve. Okay, oftentimes an asymmetrical vertical curve is placed when you don't have enough tangent length on either side. And if you go to page 250, at the very top of the page under the job skills, he goes through this discussion of why we go ahead and put one in there. And so I'm going to go ahead and let you guys read that, and we're just going to continue with the exercise. So what we want to do is, imagine if that was closed. We want to go ahead and we want to right click, and we want to hit the edit profile geometry, and up comes that window that I just closed anyway, but I just wanted to give you practice, keep on opening it. So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and go to the more free vertical curves, okay? More free vertical curves, but we want to go to the more free vertical curves, this one down here, okay, where the parabolas are. And we want to select the free asymmetrical parabola, PI based. Here we go, that one. And our next step is to pick a point near the PI that we're considering. And this is where we had erased the previous vertical curve. Now we're going to place the asymmetrical vertical curve. So let's pick something around right there. And then ask us for length number 1, and let's go ahead and enter 200, and that's our default. And the next length is 300, and it goes ahead and puts in the vertical curve, hit return again, and the associated text comes in with it. But notice it's kind of funky right here, so what we can always do is just lift it up a little bit. See? Okay. There we go. Okay. Off to 8-10 now. In exercise 8-10, the author asks us to now superimpose one profile into another. Now, what does that mean? Let's say you have a center line of a road, okay? Yeah, center line of a road moves in a linear distance, and it's just going along, okay? Now, adjacent to that, you have maybe an oil pipeline that's controlled by a profile that's underground that is not parallel to that road. Let's say it comes in at an angle, and eventually it's going to cross the road, okay, at some point. But what you have to do is you have to reflect the profile of the oil line into your road profile. Oftentimes a contractor wants to know, if I'm at this station and I know that oil line is off somewhere, but I want to know in elevation wise, where's it at in comparison to my road, okay? So this is what this superimposing the profiles does for us, okay? I'm going to zoom and extend, and I'm going to see the two profiles there. I'm going to zoom in here. So now what I want to do is I want to superimpose this profile into this target profile here. So what I want to do is I want to go up to profiles, and I want to create superimpose profile, and then I want to select the profile of the source, which is, this is the source, and then I want to send it to this profile view here, and I just touch the profile view. Okay, and I want to go ahead and start at the beginning, and I want to end, I want to go the full length, or I can truncate it. I can make it shorter, okay? But I don't want to. I just want to go ahead and accept that. I want to scoot this up so you can see. Oh, I went a little too far. I want to go ahead and scoot it up so you can see what happens when I say OK. Okay, and you see the profile came in superimposed. Now, it's not a carbon copy of this line here. It's actually superimposed relative to the angle. Okay, let me look at let's look at the profile and see where the two alignments are. And I cannot see the second alignment. Oh, here it is. It's right here. So remember what I said about the oil line being off of the main road? Okay, here's the main road, and here's the oil line being off. And so this profile is superimposed into this profile. Very handy. It's very useful. Okay, I guess we're moving along pretty well. Now let's go to 8-11. Okay, in exercise 8-11, the author wants us to create now cross sections through the alignment. And let me explain what I think I explained what cross sections were. But if this is the profile, cross sections generally run perpendicular to the profile. Okay, consider them as short profiles that run perpendicular to the main profile. Okay, but that's kind of what a cross section is, and they're very useful. There's no project that I've ever worked in where we had a profile that we didn't need a cross section. So with that said, let's go ahead and go up to the sections menu and say create sample lines, and the computer's now prompting us for the alignment. Let's go ahead and select the alignment, and this window pops up, and if you look at the picture on 251, you pretty much see that everything matches. Okay, and I think we're good there. And let's just go ahead and click OK. And then up comes this little dialog box here that's really hard to see. It was just kind of hidden in there. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to sample the line, and we want to sample them by a range of stations. Okay. And so let's sample by, oh, I'm sorry, it's this one right here. Range of stations. Okay. And you'll have the window that opens up, and it looks like the image on page 252 right at the top. And let's go ahead and expand this a little bit so we can see it. See if I can, oh, there we go, that one. Oh, doesn't want to go, there you go. Okay. So let's go ahead and change all the parameters similarly to what the author has. Here he wants the width of the cut to be 50 feet to the, say 50 feet, that is to the left, and we want to go 50 feet to the right. Okay, that's going to make a 100-foot section. And he wants the stations cut every 25 feet along the curves and 25 feet along the spirals. Now, we don't have spirals. I rarely ever worked in spirals, but a spiral is when you come off the freeway and when you perceive that when you enter the curve off the freeway on the off-ramp, you have one radius, and then all of a sudden maybe it loosens up or tightens up into another radius. That's a spiral, okay? But those are, I don't really design those very much, but here's how to take those into account. Okay, the last thing we need to do is change all these to true, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take the cross sections from the very start to the very end, and at horizontal points, meaning at the BC and the BCs, the PCs, the PTs generally, and any other breaks that we have, okay? And at super elevation critical stations, okay? Toggled all those on, and we hit OK. And notice our sample lines came in every 25 feet, and then it gave us a special section line right here at the PC, and we're probably going to see one over at the PT as well, right there, okay? And let's go ahead and hit return. And if we go over to the prospector, and we go over to sites, open up site 1, open up the alignment, open up the centerline alignment, and if we look down in sample lines, we'll see that the SLG sample lines are there. Okay, so that's telling us that our section lines have been processed. Okay, let's go now to 8-12, which is the last exercise in this particular section. Okay, in my haste of in trying to beat the 15-minute clock here, because YouTube only allows 15 minutes per video, I kind of forgot to go ahead and hit return and have these arrows come up. So don't be as sloppy as I do. Okay, so what we want to do now is actually import the cross sections into our drawing. So the way we do that is we go to sections and we create multiple section views, and up comes this window. And let's see, the thing we want to change is this down in here. We want to plot all of the section lines, okay? So once we do that, we can go ahead and hit create cross section, and we want to set the location to where the author wants us to locate it at the coordinate 21,000 by 21,000. Hit return, and you can see that because of the delay, something's happening. And my hunch is that the cross sections were built, and yes, they were. So you can see them right there. So this is a cut perpendicular to the pavement, okay? And this is along the existing ground as well. Now, if we had a template in here with a corridor, we would have seen the corridor as well. Okay, that's the end of chapter 8.